What if I told you the chaos we thought couldn't get any louder just got nuclear? That's right. After weeks of whispers, memes, and leaked audio tearing the culture apart, Jim Jones just went further than anyone thought he ever would. Forget the heartbreak. Forget the rants. This time, he came with receipts. Receipts that insiders claim were never supposed to see the light of day. Screenshots, emails, and even behind-the-scenes clips that point directly at Chrissy's husband, the man the internet has been obsessing over since that wedding bombshell. And what these receipts suggest: a dark secret that could flip everything upside down. Blogs are already calling it the final nail in the coffin. Twitter detectives are losing their minds, connecting dots in real time. One viral post put it bluntly: Jim wasn't bitter. Jim was warning us. And now with these receipts leaked, the questions are louder than ever. Who really is Chrissy's husband? What has he been hiding in the shadows while smiling in the spotlight? And why is Jim so confident that exposing this truth could end careers, friendships, and possibly even Chrissy's entire new marriage before it's barely begun? But here's the twist. The receipts don't just drag Chrissy's husband. They drag Chrissy herself, painting a picture of a betrayal that feels bigger, colder, and more deliberate than fans ever imagined. The internet thought this was about love. Jim's receipts prove it's about power. And once you hear what's in them, you'll never look at Chrissy or her husband the same way again. The moment those receipts hit the blogs, everything changed. What started as a messy, leaked audio scandal turned into a full-blown cultural earthquake. The first screenshots were grainy, almost unbelievable, but then clearer ones followed, and suddenly, Jim Jones wasn't just ranting into a hot mic. He was unloading proof. And this proof wasn't just vague hints or bitter jealousy. It was names, numbers, and dates that pointed directly at Chrissy's new husband being involved in things no one expected. The streets were buzzing, the blogs were foaming, and Twitter detectives smelled blood. It all started when a notorious gossip page dropped what they claimed was an anonymous submission, a string of emails that looked like casual exchanges between Chrissy's husband and an Atlanta promoter. At first glance, they seemed harmless. But then the captions underneath told a darker story. Money transfers, unreported deals, keeping this quiet. And one line that set the entire internet on fire: "Don't let Jimmy find out." The second fans read that, they went feral. Was this the dirt Jim had been hinting at in the leaked audio? Was this the betrayal that cut deeper than Chrissy's surprise marriage announcement? Within hours, hashtags like #ReceiptGate and #JimmyWasRight were trending worldwide. Fans began screenshotting the emails, zooming in on the dates, circling details, and piecing together a timeline. One viral thread claimed the receipts showed Chrissy's husband using burner accounts and aliases to move money around in ways that looked shady at best, criminal at worst. The kicker: some of those dates overlapped with Chrissy and Jim still being together. Suddenly, the heartbreak wasn't just about love lost, it was about loyalty, trust, and power plays that had been happening behind closed doors. But the emails weren't the only bombshell. Alongside them came a blurry backstage video clip, allegedly filmed during Chrissy's wedding reveal episode. The clip showed Jim storming off stage, but this time, the angle was different. You could see Chrissy's husband standing just a few feet away, smirking, arms folded, while Jim shouted. In the leaked audio, all fans had heard was rage. But now, they saw the body language. The husband wasn't calm. He wasn't nervous. He looked cocky, confident, like a man who believed he had already won. That clip alone sent TikTok into meltdown mode. Fans flooded the comments with lines like, "This wasn't heartbreak, this was war." And then Jim poured gasoline on the fire. He didn't post directly, but he shared an Instagram story, a screenshot of one of the alleged receipts with a single caption. "Told y'all," no long explanation, no rant. Just 3 words, and they detonated across the internet like dynamite. The implication was clear. Jim wasn't bluffing. He had the evidence, And if this was just the beginning, fans could only imagine what else he had tucked away. Behind the scenes, insiders say producers were in chaos. VH1 executives allegedly held emergency meetings, scrambling to decide whether to bury the footage or lean into the scandal. Some wanted to protect Chrissy and her storyline, arguing that letting this out would destroy her credibility and damage the show. Others smelled ratings gold. "We don't need to script anything anymore," one insider allegedly leaked in a text. "The drama is writing itself." But one executive supposedly warned, "If Jim has more receipts and we air this, it could get dangerous. We're not just playing with emotions anymore. We're playing with lives." Meanwhile, Chrissy's silence grew louder. Fans noticed she stopped posting entirely for 48 hours after the receipts dropped. No ring photos, no cryptic captions, nothing. And in today's culture, silence speaks volumes. People started speculating, was she scrambling behind the scenes to do damage control? Was her husband hiding more secrets than anyone realized? Or was she deliberately letting the storm pass, confident that fans would eventually move on? But the internet doesn't move on. It digs deeper. Twitter threads began resurfacing old footage of Chrissy and Jim's time on Love and Hip Hop, replaying moments where Jim had accused her of not being honest or keeping secrets. Suddenly, those old arguments took on new meaning. Fans started splicing them together with the leaked receipts, creating viral edits that painted Chrissy's husband as a shadow figure who had always been lurking, waiting to take Jim's place. One viral TikTok put it bluntly, "She didn't find him. He was always there, in the shadows, waiting." Celebrities began to weigh in too, and that only fanned the flames. Remy Ma dropped a cryptic tweet, "Receipts always ruin the fairy tale." Cardi B commented under a gossip post with laughing emojis and the words, "This tea too hot." Even 50 Cent couldn't resist, posting a meme of Jim holding a stack of fake receipts with the caption, "Jimmy been saving these like student loans," though he deleted it minutes later. The screenshot had already gone viral. But the real bombshell came late that night when an anonymous production assistant slid into a gossip blog's DMIs with a chilling claim. They said the leaked emails weren't even the worst of it. According to them, Jim had videos. Videos of Chrissy's husband in situations that would make the receipts look tame. If those drop, the assistant wrote, it won't just be Chrissy's marriage in question. It'll be his entire reputation, and maybe hers too. That single message turned the internet into a war zone. Fans started speculating about what those videos could show: shady business deals, crate meets, or even proof of betrayal that went beyond romance. By the end of part 1, the culture was divided, but one thing was clear. This wasn't just heartbreak anymore. This was a scandal spiraling out of control. Jim had the receipts, the blogs had the story, and Chrissy's husband. Its entire image was crumbling before our eyes. The cliffhanger left everyone breathless. Jim already had emails and clips. What else was he sitting on? And when would he decide to drop it? The morning after those receipts leaked, the entire internet was a battlefield. Comment sections were smoking. Twitter threads stretched hundreds of posts long, and TikTok creators were already reenacting Jim Jones's words like it was Shakespeare in the Hood. What was supposed to be a bitter backstage rant had now mutated into a cultural trial with Chrissy's husband at the center. Jim wasn't just the hurt ex anymore. He was the man with receipts, and the internet was convinced he was just getting started. Within hours, more evidence started dropping like bombs. A blog notorious for stirring the pot posted what they claimed were text messages between Chrissy's husband and an unnamed promoter. The texts weren't long, but they were devastating. In one, the husband allegedly wrote, "Keep this off the record. You know, Jimmy, don't need to see this." That phrase alone sent Twitter into chaos. It was almost identical to the email line from the night before. Suddenly, fans were screaming consistency. "This ain't fake." One viral tweet read, "The man's sloppy. He leaving the same trail everywhere." Another chimed in, How you trying to be the king when you're moving like a rookie? But the real twist came when fans started connecting dots between the receipts and past Love and Hip Hop footage. One TikTok creator slowed down a reunion clip from 2017 where Chrissy argued with Jim about outside distractions. In the background of that same clip, fans spotted a man sitting 2 rows back, wearing the same chain Chrissy's husband was seen wearing in recent photos. People froze the frame, circled the chain, and the hashtag, and then came the hammer, a voicemail leak. An anonymous account uploaded a scratchy but chilling voice note that fans swore came from Chrissy's husband. The message, allegedly sent to a friend, said, "She ain't going back to Jimmy. I made sure of that. He ain't got nothing on me. But here's where it got darker." The voice on the tape laughed before saying, "Unless he starts pulling old files, then it might get messy." Fans instantly exploded. Old files? What files? Did Jim actually have a stash of dirt hidden away? Was this the very thing he'd been hinting at since the leaked audio first broke? Blogs wasted no time spinning theories. Some said the old files were street-related business dealings that tied Chrissy's husband to moves nobody wanted public. Others speculated it was about infidelity, that maybe her new husband wasn't the knight in shining armor she painted him to be, but just another man playing multiple sides. Either way, the internet was convinced this wasn't just about a broken heart anymore. This was about reputation, power, and secrets that went way beyond romance. Chrissy, however, remained silent. Not a word, not a post, not even a clapback. And in the world of reality TV, silence is never neutral, it's a strategy. Fans began speculating that her PR team was working overtime behind the scenes, trying to get ahead of whatever Jim might drop next. But silence also gave her enemies all the room they needed to spin the story. One gossip account even posted a DM, allegedly from someone on Chrissy's team, that read, "She knows Jim has receipts. She's just hoping he won't risk it all to drop them." Whether true or not, the narrative was already locked in. Chrissy was hiding. Meanwhile, Jim was doing the exact opposite. He went live on Instagram for 7 minutes, pacing in his living room, eyes red, voice raw. He didn't name Chrissy's husband directly, but his words dripped with menace. "Don't play with me," he muttered into the camera. "Y'all know I got files. Y'all know I've been holding back out of respect, but respect dead now. They keep acting like I'm bitter. I'ma show 'em who really bitter when them truths come out." The comment section lit up instantly. Fans spammed, "Drop the files. Expose them, Jim. We ready?" And then, as if on cue, another leak hit. This time, it wasn't emails or texts. It was video. A grainy clip, clearly recorded years ago, showing Chrissy's husband at a club table surrounded by men linked to Dipset affiliates. The audio was muffled, but one voice caught the internet's ear. Jim's. You couldn't see him, but you could hear him in the background, laughing, clinking glasses, and calling someone family. Fans froze the video, circled the man in the corner, and declared that was Chrissy's husband, sitting right there in Jim's inner circle years before he ever appeared as Chrissy's man. The internet went nuclear. One viral TikTok stitched the clip with Jim's leaked audio, where he said he'd been circling, always in the cut, waiting on me to slip. Side by side, it looked undeniable. The man Chrissy married wasn't just a stranger, he had been lurking in Jim's orbit for years. Fans weren't just gossiping anymore. They were furious. "That's not a new man," one tweet read. "That's a betrayal 15 years in the making." Another user added, "Chrissy didn't just move on. She upgraded from the inside out. That's foul." Even celebrities couldn't resist chiming. And Funkflex aired the receipts on Hot 97, saying, "This is the dirtiest backdoor play I ever seen. You can't tell me homie wasn't plotting." Cardi B retweeted a meme of Chrissy's husband photoshopped as a shadow lurking behind Jim, and captioned it, "Been in the shadows since day one." Even Remy Ma, who had tried to stay neutral, finally weighed in with the live ladies. Don't let your plan B turn into your plan A if it means disrespecting the man who fed you. The culture was eating it up, and Chrissy's husband was losing the PR war before he even said a word. But then he did speak. Late that night, Chrissy's husband went live. The video was shaky, clearly filmed on a phone propped up on a table, his voice defensive but unsteady. "I don't care what Jimmy's saying," he declared. "I'm here. I'm her husband, that's it. That's all. He mad because I stepped up where he fell short? He had 15 years and blew it. Don't blame me for her choosing peace over chaos." For a moment, fans thought he'd pulled it off. He looked calm. He sounded confident. But then the comments turned brutal. "If you clean, why Jim saying he got files?" One user wrote. Another added, "Peace, don't sweat like that." Within minutes, the husband abruptly ended the live, logging off mid-sentence as the comment section tore him apart. That single misstep shifted the narrative again. Instead of clearing his name, the husband looked shaky, and Jim seized the opportunity. Hours later, he posted another cryptic story: a manila folder emoji, a clock emoji, and the words tick, tock. The internet exploded. Fans flooded Twitter with memes warning that the files were coming. Some even joked about setting alarms, waiting for the next leak like it was a mixtape drop. Behind the scenes, insiders whispered that producers were in full-blown panic. According to one leaked email, VH1 execs debated whether to film an emergency sit-down between Jim, Chrissy, and her husband to control the narrative. But others worried it would backfire. If Jim walks in with receipts on camera, we lose control. One exec allegedly wrote, "He's not playing by TV rules anymore. He's playing for blood." By the end of part 2, the internet wasn't asking if Jim had more files. They were asking when he dropped them. And the culture was left dangling on one explosive question. If Jim really had the dirt, what exactly was in those files that could end Chrissy's marriage before it even began? The clock struck midnight, and the culture held its breath. For hours, Jim Jones's cryptic TikTok post had been replayed, dissected, and memed across every platform. Fans weren't sleeping, bloggers weren't logging off. Even celebrities were glued to their phones waiting to see if the files would actually drop. Then, just as Twitter was about to call it a bluff, Jim made his move. A shaky screen recording appeared on his Instagram story. It's only 10 seconds long, but enough to break the internet in half. The clip showed a series of screenshots, what looked like email correspondence, bank transfers, and blurry contracts. But the killer moment was the caption written across the top. "This ain't about heartbreak. This about betrayal. Ask your husband why he was meeting with promoters under my name." Boom. That one line detonated across the culture. Within minutes, hashtags like #ReceiptGate, #JimFiles, and #ChrisSYSHusband trended worldwide. The story had officially left the realm of gossip, was now a full-on cultural scandal. But the chaos didn't stop there. Within an hour, a longer version of the leak appeared on a gossip blog known for pushing too-hot-to-air content. This version was brutal. It wasn't just bank transfers. It included what appeared to be signed agreements with Chrissy's husband's name on them, tied to deals that allegedly siphoned money while using Jim's connections. If true, it wasn't just betrayal, it was fraud. Fans lost their minds. "Yo, this man wasn't just circling Chrissy," one tweet read. "He was circling Jim's pockets too." Another screamed, "That's why Jim called him an understudy. He wasn't just plotting for Chrissy, he was plotting for the throne." The blogs went nuclear. Headlines screamed across feeds. Leaked files proved Jim's accusations. Chrissy's husband exposed in business scandal, love, and hip hop star linked to fraud scheme. And for the first time, Chrissy's name wasn't the only one trending. It was her husband's, his full government name. Blasted across gossip blogs and Twitter threads, dissected and memed into oblivion. The internet wasn't just clowning him, they were treating him like the villain of a Netflix documentary. Meanwhile, Jim didn't stop at one leak. Like clockwork, he dropped more pieces every few hours. A text thread here, a voicemail snippet there. One message allegedly showed Chrissy's husband texting a promoter, "Keep Jimmy out of this. She don't need to know." Another showed screenshots of him allegedly using Jim's name to secure meetings. And then came the darkest piece yet, an audio clip of Jim's voice, recorded years earlier, warning someone in his circle about snakes too close to home. Fans swore that Snake was Chrissy's husband. By now, Chrissy couldn't stay silent any longer. Late that night, she finally broke her silence with a single Instagram post, a black square, ring hand visible, captioned, "Married to a man, not a rumor." Stop reaching. The internet wasn't buying it. The comments were brutal. "Girl, the receipts ain't rumors. Stand by your man if you want, but don't gaslight us. He'd been circling since day one, and you knew it." The post racked up hundreds of thousands of comments in hours, most of them roasting her or begging her to address the receipts. Head on her husband, meanwhile, was unraveling. He tried to clap back with a defensive live, denying everything Jim posted, claiming the files were doctored and taken out of context. But fans weren't convinced. His voice cracked, his eyes darted, and the internet turned on him even harder. "This ain't a man defending himself," one viral tweet read. "This a man watching his house burn down." The live ended abruptly. After 6 minutes, and within minutes, Dr. Files was trending alongside Guilty Sweat. And then came the moment that turned this feud into legend. Jim went live for the first time since dropping the receipts. The video was chaotic, dimly lit, his voice raw, pacing like a man possessed. "Y'all thought I was just bitter. Y'all thought I was hurt. Nah," he said, staring into the camera. "This ain't about no woman choosing another man. This about a snake using her to get close to me, using my family, my name, my blood, and thinking I wouldn't notice." He paused, leaned in closer, and delivered the line that froze the internet. "He don't just got secrets. He is a secret. And when I drop the rest, y'all gonna see what I've been holding back all these years." The live cut off suddenly, but the damage was done. The culture erupted. Fans weren't just gossiping anymore, they were begging for the final drop. "Drop the rest, Jim, end him. We want the files." Memes flooded timelines, photoshopping Chrissy's husband onto wanted posters comparing Jim's leaks to an HBO drama. Even joking that VH1 needed to release this as a Netflix series called The Betrayal Files. Celebrities kept the fire blazing. Cardi B posted a story with the caption, "When the receipts come out, the silence gets loud." Remy Ma tweeted, "A snake don't just crawl into your house. Somebody open the door." Even 50 Cent got involved, posting a meme of Jim holding a folder labeled Files with the caption, "Jimmy said forget mixtapes, he dropping case tapes." That post alone racked up nearly 1 million likes before he deleted it. Behind the scenes, producers at VH1 were melting down. Leaked emails revealed frantic debates about whether to film a sit-down with Jim Chrissy and her husband. But insiders warned it could spiral out of control. "Jim shows up with real paperwork on camera. We're done," one exec allegedly wrote. "We can't control this anymore. It's bigger than TV." Another email leaked later showed one producer admitting, "This ain't a storyline anymore. This is real and it's dangerous." The streets felt it too. Reports swirled of near run-ins between Jim and Chrissy's husband at industry events. One eyewitness claimed they saw Jim storm out of a lounge after being tipped off that the husband had just arrived. He said, "I'm not doing this here. But when I see him, it won't be cameras." That chilling quote spread across gossip blogs, fueling fears that this feud was no longer just internet drama, it was teetering into real-life danger. By the end of the week, the internet had shifted focus entirely. This wasn't about Chrissy choosing a new man anymore. Wasn't about Jim being bitter. It was about one looming question. What was in the rest of the files? Because if what Jim had already leaked was this explosive, fans couldn't even imagine what he was still holding back. And then As if scripted for maximum suspense, Jim posted one final story, a photo of a closed laptop, a whiskey glass beside it, and the caption, "Decide if y'all really want me to open this." The culture lost its mind. Memes, tweets, TikToks, it was a frenzy. People weren't just invested, they were obsessed. The cliffhanger was too perfect, too chilling. What could possibly be in that laptop? Photos? Contracts? Videos? Or something darker? By the end of part 3, the culture wasn't just waiting for receipts. They were waiting for a bomb to go off. And the lingering question wasn't if Jim Jones would destroy Chrissy's husband's reputation, but when and how. And now we're standing at the edge of the cliff, staring into a storm that feels bigger than reality TV, bigger than gossip, bigger than anything the culture thought it would see this year. Jim Jones didn't just drop receipts, he cracked open a vault. Chrissy's husband isn't just a mystery anymore, he's a question mark hanging over the entire love and hip-hop legacy. And that laptop Jim teased, that's the doomsday button. It's one click, one upload, and this story goes from scandal to career-ending. Catastrophe. The question is, are you ready when it happens? Because trust me, the internet won't wait. The second Jim presses play, the timelines will explode. Hashtags will flood your screen, and the culture will choose sides faster than you can blink. You don't want to be the last person to hear what's inside those files, so here's what you need to do right now. Smash that like button so we know you're locked in. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Whose side are you on? Jim, the wounded king demanding respect, or Chrissy, the woman clinging to her marriage in silence? And don't forget to subscribe with notifications on, because when the next leak drops, it's going to hit hard, fast, and without warning. Miss it, and you'll be playing catch-up while everyone else is already dissecting the truth. This isn't just Teet's gasoline waiting on a match. When that laptop opens, it won't just burn Chrissy's husband, it might burn the entire empire. Stay tuned. Stay tuned.